Okay. Hi, everybody. Wanted to welcome you to today's webinar, Wisconsin Small Business Energy Management 101, Grants, Programs, and Funding Options Unpacked. Thanks to our promotional partners who have helped spread the word about our small business program today. Thank you to Be Local Wisconsin, Focus on Energy, and the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council. Let's begin with some housekeeping. Today's webinar is being recorded and a version will be posted to the CUB YouTube channel for public viewing. I also want to acknowledge today's webinar support from Richard of CUB as well as Leah at Evolution Marketing, who are assisting us today. Please submit your questions through the Q&A feature on the Zoom screen. The Q&A is listed under the More button if you can't find it. If you have technical questions or questions that you may not want shared with everyone here, please send them directly to Lisa Geason-Bauer and include your contact info. She will make sure either a CUB staffer or one of our speakers will follow up to answer your question. We've enabled the closed captioning on this webinar, so access it just by clicking on the box at the bottom of your screen with the CC on it. Next slide, please. My name's Tom Content, and I'm Executive Director with the Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin. I'm here today because and always with the CUB because consumer protection is critical with utility service. The money you pay to your utility should be affordable for you and your family and your business and spent responsibly by the utility and result in reliable service. CUB represents all of us in Wisconsin and advocates for all of these things. So if you're not a member and think this is important too, please consider supporting our work and becoming a member today. Next slide, please. CUB's role is as Wisconsin consumer advocate for all of the residential and small business customers of the state's utilities, energy, electricity, natural gas, and water. We are the nation's oldest CUB, and we were founded in 1979, so nearly 45 years ago, and we were created by the Wisconsin legislature as a nonpartisan, independent nonprofit. We rely on support from nonprofit members, and we advocate for consumer protection, affordability, fairness, and safe and reliable service from our utilities. So check out our website for membership information. We have two main areas of focus: our regulatory work in all the cases that are going on at the Public Service Commission, and then education and outreach, which includes today initiatives like today's webinar. Next slide, please. We're part of a network of consumer advocates across the country, but if you look at the map, you can see that Wisconsin's only one of 3 states that rely on a nonprofit organization to be the official designated consumer advocate for the small customers. Next slide, please. And so for small businesses, we have membership programs that we wanted to just briefly describe. The benefits of membership include advocacy. We keep you up to date on issues that matter to you involving your utility. Empowerment. We encourage you to take action and participate in the proceedings at the Public Service Commission and get involved in important bills at the legislature. And access. We can help your organization and your employees save resources and money with our Lunch and Learn utility bill clinic presentations. So if you're interested in outreach and partnership opportunities with CUB, please reach out. Next slide, please. It's my pleasure to introduce our program MC today, Montre Moore, who was recently elected to the CUB Board of Directors. Montre is a public involvement and outreach specialist with the Southeast Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission based in Waukesha. Montre is actively involved in economic, social, and environmental justice efforts through the roles with NAACP of Wisconsin, Waukesha County NAACP, the Wisconsin Climate Table, the Wisconsin Environmental Justice and Infrastructure Initiative, and the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition. He's also a board member with the Fondy Food Center in Milwaukee. Montre is working to bring representation for communities of color to CUB and to facilitate connections between CUB and underserved communities. Thanks for joining us today, and welcome, Montre.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that amazing introduction, Tom. Again, my name is Montre Moore. Often when I introduce myself, I say I do a lot, but I don't do enough as it relates to the climate emergency that we're currently facing. I am a climate activist, but however, I'm not going to beat you over the head today with solar panels, and all those wonderful things that we should be focusing on. But we're going to talk about something simple that most small business owners can relate to. That's your bottom line. How are you saving money? How are you putting more dollars back in your pocket? And by doing so, you're helping save the planet. You're using less energy and you're making a win-win situation. So again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this conversation. Again, I just want to make sure that I can't say enough how important this moment is and how important your participation in moving our planet, our community, our state forward. So again, we have put together a really, really wonderful education program to talk about some of the great things happening in Wisconsin for small business customers. We have 3 panelists. We're super excited to have them. They're going to be sharing resources, programs, and actions that you can actually put in use today after you leave this conversation to start using less energy. So we're super excited about that. Our first panelist, let me go ahead and introduce all 3 panelists, and I'm going to allow them to take the mic. Our first panelist will be Lisa Geason-Bauer. She is the president of Evolution Marketing, which is a Wisconsin-based, women-owned, certified B corporation that operates in a carbon neutral manner. Evolution Marketing is a small business member of both the Wisconsin Sustainability Business Coalition and also a member of the Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin. Lisa is a sustainability practitioner. I got to use that one again. And she has been implementing strategies, systems, practices for over 16 years at Evolution Marketing. Today, she's going to be sharing with us resources, tools that businesses, again, can put to use as relates to managing their energy consumptions. Our second speaker will be Gina Steward. She is a grants and compliance lead for the Wisconsin Office of Energy and Innovation. This office is at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin, a longtime professional in county government and now in state government. Gina has engaged with multiple grant programs and has been the main point of contact for the public, providing education, outreach, and technical assistance to program participants. She will be sharing with us today grant programs that are available to Wisconsin-based manufacturers and organizations. And last but not least, our final speaker, Kyle Thomas, who is the outreach manager for commercial B&I solutions at Focus on Energy. Kyle holds an associate's degree in solar technology and energy management from the Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. College is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He is also a certified energy manager through the Association of Energy Engineers. Kyle's role at Focus provides energy advice, audits, coordination of services for commercial customers, and also business owners and utility customers from around the state of Wisconsin. Today, he's going to highlight some of the great work over at Focus on Energy as it relates to programs and some potential tax credits that's out there for us to take advantage of. So this is again a great opportunity for learning. I again would like to remind everyone that if you do have questions, put those questions of any topic in the chat, and we will definitely follow up with those after each of our panelists have put forth their presentations. So now it is my great pleasure to bring Lisa forward and pass the mic so she can begin to educate us in this amazing space. Lisa?
Thank you so much, Montre. So hello, everybody. As Montre said, I am a sustainability practitioner. So what that means is I'm going to talk to you all today about things that I've done at Evolution Marketing, my company, for the last 16 years, or I've done with Evolution Marketing clients. Because I know that when we start to talk about sustainability, sometimes folks get overwhelmed because there really is a lot of stuff going on. There's lots of programs. So I'm going to try to break it down and make it really clear and give you some really nice take-home actions. So as you can see from the slide, Evolution Marketing is a proud member of the Citizens Utility Board Small Business Program. Next slide, please. So I'm going to start today with a really great definition that I think encapsulates what energy management looks like in 2023. And I say that because I've been working in this space for a really long time, and the definitions evolved and changed over time. I think The way I like to think about energy management is that it's a proactive and systematic monitoring, control, and optimization of an organization's energy consumption with the goal to conserve and decrease energy costs. So as Montre had said, this really ties back into a business's bottom line. You say, why are we talking about this now? And if we've not started in this journey, what should we do? And I'm going to tell you why we're talking about this today is because more and more companies, especially small businesses, are really facing external reporting requirements, especially if you're a manufacturer or you're in other people's larger company supply chain. Many companies today are requiring that their suppliers share not only the strategies that they're doing for energy management, but also what actions they're taking to address climate change. And energy is step one. Understanding your energy footprint is step one of understanding your carbon footprint and reporting that out. A couple of years ago, the state of Wisconsin passed what's called the Clean Energy Plan for the state. And the transformation to a clean energy economy is going on right now. We did several webinars last year, CUP did, about the clean energy transformation and the plan for the state. So I'd encourage you, if you want to learn more, to go check out last year's webinars, because there's a lot of amazing stuff happening. And there's many things in this clean energy plan that are directly tied into business. So business, it's important for us to be at the table to understand these topics. My favorite quote is, you can't manage what you don't measure. And I think that really comes down to energy. Again, to me, energy is one of those starting points. So if you're starting a sustainability journey, let's start with energy, and let's start with understanding where we're using energy within our corporation, within our business. And then once we understand where we're using that energy, let's start to measure it. So then we can start to see if we put programs in place, which Kyle and Gina will both be talking about later, some cool programs and options that they have to help you, you can then see a decrease. Because again, this all goes back to your bottom line, right? And then the last thing is, we all have the opportunity specifically to be strategic as a small business owners tied to our energy use. And what I mean by that is, many small businesses in Wisconsin are located in homes, such as mine. And for small businesses that are home-based, you can take advantage of not only tax credits for homeowners and programs for homeowners, but you can also take advantage of programs for business. So I want you to be strategic. There's a lot of information out there on the web about the IRA and what this means. And today we're going to have experts that will tell us more about that. But I think really, as a business owner or business employee, you need to be strategic, because there's a lot of programs that exist, and we need to find the right timing and the right price points to implement some of these things. Okay, next slide. So today I'm going to share with you two awesome resources or tools from two local organizations. So Be Local Wisconsin is our local nonprofit organization that works with folks in the certified B Corp community. And through B Lab, which is the parent of the sister to Be Local Wisconsin, they have a program that's called the SDG Action Manager tool. And this tool is it's an educational program that ties into energy, carbon, and 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's an awesome program. We're going to talk about it, and it's a great tool. We'll talk about it in just a minute. We're going to dig deep. The second tool that's really amazing is sponsored by the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council. And that tool is called the Green Masters Program. This was a program started in Wisconsin in 2009 for Wisconsin-based businesses. And if you are a member of the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council, you also can receive additional education through their webinars, as well as technical support. Next slide, please. We're going to dig in now to learn about the SDG Action Manager tool. So this tool was created in 2019 in a joint relationship between the United Nations Global Compact and B Lab Global. At that time, when it was created, as you can see that image there, it says the Sustainable Development Goals. The tool was created to map actions that businesses can take. So there's 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and underneath those goals are 169 targets. Each of those targets is mapped into one of those 17 goals. And this tool then, what it does, and I love it, I participated in the pilot version of this program, and I use this tool for my business. What I love is that if I'm struggling to figure out what actions to take, I can open up this tool, which is free to use. And I believe over 150,000 businesses around the world have used it since it was unveiled in 2020. Open it up, and I can go into pick an area. So if I pick SDG number 7, which is affordable and clean energy, the questions that are listed there tie into those sub-targets, and they can help me to make better decisions. They can inform me and educate me about things that I did not know about through the use of this tool. Next slide, please. So this tool is free, and it's built on the same platform that the B Impact Assessment, which is if you want to become, if you want your SDG Action Manager tool to be audited, you would actually opt into the B Impact Assessment, and all the questions, again, map back in to the B Impact Assessment, and then you can get audited. So you can have a third party literally review the actions your business is taking. Now, this is going to be more than just energy, but it's a holistic approach that can help you to make really great decisions as a business. Again, the tool, the SDG Action Manager tool, is free and it's a public good. So feel free to go back to your office today and start using it. Let's talk to the next slide. Let's talk about the Green Masters program. So as I said before, the Green Masters program was created in 2009. In 2022 and 2023, it did an upgrade. So now we're in version 2.0, and this new tool is really great. What it does is it literally takes and looks at sustainability performance from the lens of environment, social, and governance. So many of us have heard about what's called ESG, and people are asking, businesses are being told to do ESG reporting. Well, by using the Green Masters tool, you can, again, map your actions into these different key points. So there are literally 15 subset areas within the Green Masters program. 2 of those areas I'm going to talk a little bit about because they're germane to this conversation. The first one is called energy management. And so in the energy management section of the Green Masters tool, there are literally, I don't remember the number, but let's just say there's 40 questions. There's a lot of questions in there. And by going through and reviewing those questions, you as a business owner or an employee can start to think differently about what you're doing for energy. The second one that's in there that I really like is the greenhouse gas management section. And that section does have at least 40 questions, if not more. It's really good. It's very in-depth. And again, it can help business owners and business leaders to think about things that they maybe have not thought about tied to their business. The next slide, please. So these are some of the program benefits of using the Green Masters program. The program is currently at this time not auditable, but it will be in the future. I don't know if it's going to be 2024 or 2025, but auditability of the Green Masters program is coming, which again is a nice thing because if you are reporting into other people's supply chains and they want to make sure that what you're saying is legitimate and it's been audited by a third party, you could then use the Green Masters program, or as we talked about, the B Impact Assessment as a way to show that the things you're doing are legitimate, because transparency is also a real big issue today. Some of the other cool things that come with the program are that if you are a member of WSBC, the program is free to you. And then with that, with your membership, you also have access to webinars and deep dive technical support from the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council. Now, I asked the WSBC if they would provide an opportunity for new businesses who have never heard of the tool to pilot test it. And they said, yes, they would. So on my last slide, if you're interested in pilot testing the program and not paying for it for a couple month period, let me know, email me, and then I will connect you with the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council because they just really want folks to use this tool. It's pretty spectacular. Like I said, I used it this last year for the first time for my company. Next slide, please. So now let me tell you what I've done at my home. So my business is located in my home. I live in rural Neshota, Wisconsin. And as you can see from this image, my house is on a field, on a hill, kind of in a rural area, surrounded by farm fields. And we moved into this house in 2018. At the time, we had done an energy audit. I believe, had now 4 energy audits done throughout the time we've lived in this home. And we did an energy audit to understand what actions needed to be taken in order to make our home more energy efficient. And I have to say, working with professionals who do the energy audits is really important because there's things that I didn't know that my home needed. We learned that we not only needed a new roof, but we really needed air sealing work done. Our home is over 50 years old, and ventilation was a legitimate problem. We had ice dams occurring on our roof. And so through the energy audit, we learned what we needed to do. We put a new roof on. Our roof is a white roof, and what that means is that it reflects the sun in the summertime and it absorbs the sun in the winter. So it helps to keep the home warmer or cooler. So light colored roofs will do that for homes. You've probably heard of white roofs in commercial buildings. They do the same thing. We did the air sealing and insulation. Because our home was so old, it needed a lot of insulation to make it more energy efficient. We did new venting throughout the underhangs throughout the home so the airflow would actually work better and be more efficient. We also added solar panels and a battery storage. You can see there that we have 30 solar panels on our home, and we have a Generac battery. We also financed all of this through what's called a green mortgage or green financing options, which I didn't even know existed until a nice gentleman from Green Homeowners United told me about green financing in 2021. So there's a lot of cool things that are happening and evolving in the space. And there's a lot of things you can do to make your home more energy efficient. We have a website. It's an Eco Home Resources website that was created by working on with Oconomowoc High School students for about a year as they went through the project with myself and all the things we did at our home. And the website is in both Spanish and English, so you can learn about all the cool green features that we've done at our home. Next slide. Oh, and we did this all before the Inflation Reduction Act was passed, and we got a 26% tax credit. If you choose to do any of these things now, you can get a 30% tax credit. And there's lots of ways to help fund this type of work now that did not exist when we went through. Next slide, please. From this slide, you can see, as I said, that we actually had a third party audit our home. Our score went from a number 5 on the EPA's Better Building Score, Home Energy Assessment Score, to a number 10, which means that our home is in the top 10 most energy efficient homes in the nation. So the third party saying it. It's not just Lisa saying it, third party verified. In the images below, you can see Patrick from Current Electric. He's standing next to the Generac inverter. And then the photo next to that is the big power wall, the Generac power wall of batteries, then the inverter, and then our 2 utility boxes. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is that many businesses are being asked today to share what they're doing in a public and transparent manner. Evolution Marketing has done this since our inception, and we do what are called impact reports. The link there that Leah just shared in the chat is literally our 2021 and 2022 carbon footprint report, where we detail the story of all the things we've done to our home, as well as we showcase what our actual legitimate energy footprint is. So that's why we're able to say that we're operating in a carbon neutral manner. And then the last slide, please. On this slide, again, if you are interested in the Green Masters program, please drop me an email and I will connect you with the team at the Wisconsin State Business Council so that you can try the program for yourself. And if you have other questions about small business actions, I've been doing these things for a long time. I'd be more than happy to spend a half an hour on the phone, answer questions for you, or connect you with other folks working in this space, because we all have to work together to address the clean energy plan for the state of Wisconsin. Thank you for having me speak today.
Wow, Lisa, what an amazing start. Thank you for all of that very relevant and key information. Wow, thank you again. It is now my pleasure to bring Gina to the mic. I know she has some amazing stuff for us as well. Gina, come on down.
Hello, everybody. Thank you to Cub for having me today. I'm going to focus on the grant opportunities available through the Public Service Commission's Office of Energy Innovation. Next slide, please. The highlight of my presentation is a general overview of the Energy Innovation Grant Program that's known as EIGP, and the 2023 round is actually going to launch tomorrow. The grant program design and budget were established by the Public Service Commission in an open meeting earlier this year. The funding for this program has historically been funded through the DOE's 2009 ARA stimulus package, and the 2023 round is funded through the US DOE's Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act, which is known as IIJA, or the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. Some background: in 2018 was our first round of funding. We had 100 applicants with 31 projects selected and $5 million in grant funding provided. 2019 was skipped due to COVID. 2020 round of funding was 101 applicants with 32 projects selected and $7 million in grant funding. 2021 had 105 applicants with 46 projects selected, $10 million in grant funding. 2022 round had 135 applicants with 32 projects selected and $10 million again in grant funding. And this year we have approximately $7.8 million available in grant funding, which is going to be distributed through 3 eligible activities, which is renewable energy and energy storage, energy efficiency and demand response, and comprehensive energy planning and feasibility studies for microgrids. Next slide, please. Program objectives. Again, addressing the clean energy plan through the state of Wisconsin. Our program objective is to advance energy innovation in Wisconsin through investing in the adoption of innovative energy technologies and processes, and expanding access to clean energy, efficiency, and preparedness to Wisconsin communities that are otherwise unable to adopt these and for whom the innovative approaches are for. Next slide, please. Eligible applicants. The EIGP program has a broad spectrum of eligible applicants. However, for the purpose of our attendees today, it will be more geared towards the manufacturing group. This does not preclude a small business from considering this grant, however. If you work with the right partners and have an innovative energy approach you'd like to consider, we ask that you take the time to learn about the program and see if it can assist you in a funding opportunity. Later on in the webinar, Tom's actually going to talk about some of the partners with CUB, and these partners are great resources to help you through a grant process, help you research if you can partner with any other entities to obtain grant funding. So our main eligible applicants are municipalities, universities, schools, and hospitals, which are often referred to MUSH market, cities, town, villages, counties, K-12 school districts, tribes, municipal water utilities, electric utilities, and gas utilities, the University of Wisconsin system and facilities and the technical college system, public or nonprofit hospitals, electric co-ops, 501c3s, nonprofits, and manufacturers defined by Wisconsin stats. Next slide, please. This breaks down the eligible activities that I talked about earlier and the maximum grant request that an entity can make. What's important to note is that a single entity can apply for more than one activity listed in this chart. They just simply have to make more than one application. So the renewable energy and energy storage is for applicant-owned projects to install solar PV system, renewable energy system other than solar PV, a standalone battery storage system, or a project that will combine the storage system and PV or another renewable energy system. And below that, it lists the maximum grant request depending on which types of those systems you're looking at applying for. Solar's PV is $250. Renewable energy systems other than solar PV is a $500,000. Energy storage is $250,000. Renewable energy is $500,000. Solar PV or $750 with any other renewable energy, and a microgrid implementation is $750. The energy and efficiency demand response includes projects to conduct energy efficiency, process efficiency, demand response improvements, and beneficial electrification, or any combination thereof, with a $1 million maximum grant request. This is the activity that is often requested by our manufacturing community. Another option is activity 3, which is comprehensive planning and feasibility studies for microgrids. And these have alternatives if there's a single applicant or more than one applicant. And this allows consortiums that are often done by the planning groups, a lot of municipalities, or maybe the downtown. If you have a downtown area, like Downtown Inc. type thing, where all of the businesses are part of that group then can apply for a grant to cover some of those other businesses. Next slide, please. Other funding opportunities through the Office of Energy Innovation includes the EECBG grant, which is the Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, which supports strategies to reduce energy use, reduce fossil fuel emissions, and improve energy efficient. This grant is more focused towards local municipalities that did not receive a direct allocation from DOE. The Wisconsin Grid Resilience Program, again, investing in the modernization and hardening of the electric grid to reduce the likelihood, consequences, and impacts of extreme weather, wildfire, and natural disasters. Eligible applicants include the electric grid operators, electric storage operators, electricity generators, transmission owners or operators, distribution providers, and fuel suppliers. Refueling Readiness Program is to facilitate the fueling of emergency vehicles during major power outage by expanding the network of fueling points of distribution throughout our state. These grants are provided to public and private fueling stations to install wiring for a generator to restore the power to the fueling area as quick as possible. Eligible applicants include privately owned bulk storage facilities, municipal and tribe-owned highway shops, and private, municipal, and tribal-owned convenience stores with both unleaded and diesel fuel availability. The last one here is the IRA High Efficiency Electric Home Rebate Program and the Home Energy Performance-Based Program. These are two programs that came out of the new legislation, and the Public Service Commission has decided that Focus on Energy will implement these rebate programs for us and have been authorized to do so through IRA and to contact Focus on Energy for those. On this slide here, you'll notice there's a docket number that's attached to each one of these other grant fundings. You can subscribe to this docket number and receive information anytime anything's updated. It'll automatically come to you. So if there's anything that's of interest to you, or you work with any other groups that this may be of interest to, please subscribe to that docket. Next slide, please. Resources to help you prepare. The resources here is the OEI technical page with the website as well as the general email. This general email actually goes to all OEI staff. Anyone can answer your question. The EIGP story map, FAQs, and newsletter, those links are attached to the right there. The newsletter will actually give you information on everything that's happening in the OEI department, not just the EIGP grant or some of the newer grants that are coming out. It'll tell you everything that's going on, anything that's available, and anything that might be coming up. And of course, Focus on Energy link. The Focus on Energy happens to be our next speaker, Kyle, and he's going to talk about all the wonderful things that Focus can help you with that they often partner with the Public Service Commission on. Also, before we end today, Tom is going to be mentioning several of the partners with CUB, like I mentioned before. Similar to Focus, these partners are familiar with the grant programs offered through the Public Service Commission and are a great resource to help you determine eligibility, either individually or with a consortium, as well as help you with the grant application and the energy project itself. Next slide. And that's it. That is my contact information as well as the OEI general email box, which you can contact and have any of your questions answered by any of the staff. And thank you again for having me, everybody. I'll turn it over to Kyle.
Well, let me first say thank you so much for all of that amazing information. I am always willing to be smarter today than I was yesterday, and I feel that has been accomplished. So awesome. And so real quickly before we move on to Kyle, I just want to let everybody know if you do have questions, please place those in the chat, and we will get to those right after Kyle finishes his presentation. And without further ado, please, Kyle, take the floor.
All right. Well, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate the invite for this, and I'm glad to answer any questions that anybody has after this is over as well. So again, I'm Kyle Thomas. I'm with the Focus on Energy Business and Industry program. I've been a part of the Focus on Energy business program for nearly 6 years now. However, Focus on Energy has been Wisconsin's primary energy efficiency and renewable resource program since 2001. So been around for quite some time now. The main priority of Focus on Energy is really just to empower all people and all businesses of Wisconsin to make smart energy decisions. Focus on Energy's information, resources, financial incentives, they benefit all Wisconsinites by allowing energy efficiency and renewable energy projects to be implemented that maybe otherwise wouldn't happen or maybe take many years to actually implement. So these services and these resources through Focus on Energy are available to all business types, including commercial, industrial, agriculture, schools, government, multifamily, even single-family residential customers are eligible for benefits through Focus on Energy by utilizing the residential offerings through Focus on Energy as well. I'm going to primarily talk about the business side of the program, but there are residential benefits too. The way you can kind of determine difference between business residential, it really depends on who is paying the utility bills and how the utility company is considering the account to be stated. So if you look on your bill, it'll either say commercial or residential rate. That's usually what we look at. over 100 Wisconsin electric and utility, natural gas and electric utilities participate in the program. So as long as your business or residence is served by one of those participating utilities and located in Wisconsin, you would be eligible to utilize the focus program and services. So with that said, we can move into the next slide. So the main point of Focus on Energy, or the main service, is the financial support that is provided. So again, I'll sort of reiterate, at least for this portion, that these prescriptive incentives are not a tax credit. It's not a credit on your utility bill, but it's going to be a physical check you receive in the mail for a predetermined incentive amount. The main thing that we look at is just verifying that the new equipment that you're installing meets qualification requirements. Primarily that it's energy efficient and it's going to save energy in the long run and meets minimum requirements. So all of these catalogs, you see a little thumbnails there of some of the catalogs, but specifically we have catalogs for things like LED lighting, HVAC equipment, process and manufacturing equipment. And all of these catalogs can be found on our website, which we'll link as well. Each catalog outlines the various requirements that have to be met, as well as the incentive rates for those pieces of equipment as well. So I'll also state that these incentives are set on a calendar year basis. So keep that in mind, especially right now towards the end of the year here, if you're planning for future projects. Those incentive rates you might see in those catalogs could change next year. Typically, we find out towards the end of December what the next program year is going to look like. So stay tuned for more information on that. So next slide, please. So for the cases where any project might not fit into those prescriptive catalogs, maybe the requirements aren't quite the same as what you're looking at for your particular project, we could look at potential custom incentives. This would be for anything that's non-standard or not for one-for-one replacements. It can also include, renewable energy projects, with the exception of solar PV, which utilizes a separate prescriptive path, which can also be found, more information on that on our website as well. But any project that's going to be saving energy, we can look at for potential incentives as well. The main thing to keep note of for custom projects is that these have to be pre-approved by the program before any equipment's ordered or before any work begins, just to allow us some time to make sure that the project is going to save energy and it makes sense in the long run. Typically, we look at the payback period for these projects and make sure that it falls within 1 in 10 years, with some exceptions that we can look at as well. But reach out early on in the process, and we can make those determinations earlier. Next slide, please. So besides the financial impact, Focus on Energy offers quite a lot of technical assistance as well. So our team is comprised of multiple energy advisors located throughout the state. A lot of them might have, specific knowledge or industry knowledge for your particular business as well. So keep in mind, energy advisors and the assistance that we provide are here to help at no cost. We can help through all phases of energy efficiency projects and plans. So reach out anytime. Larger utility customers or customers that are continually completing projects actually typically receive an assigned energy advisor through the program as well that you can use as a main point of contact. So it's kind of a nice benefit just to start building a good working relationship with somebody from Focus on Energy to keep you appraised of any program changes or any sort of, special offerings that might pop up through the program and things like that. The focus program and energy advisors can also facilitate any sort of media or public relation opportunities after projects are completed, including, social media posts or success stories, or even, large check presentations if you're going to have some sort of ribbon cutting ceremony or event. Next slide, please. So Focus on Energy also has a network of trade allies or contractors that work a lot through the program. These trade allies can also help with identifying opportunities for incentives and can also help with making sure that qualifying equipment is going to be part of your projects if you're looking at that. We shared some links in the chat too that you can use a trade ally location tool that we have. So this tool encompasses a number of trade allies that have done work with Focus on Energy through the years. So it's a great place to start, but I do want to say that it's not required that you work with one of these registered trade allies for any of your projects. So feel free to work with anybody you wish, but it's a good tool for a place to start. Next slide, please. So I'll touch a little bit on some of the IRA funding. There's 5 potentially applicable tax credits that are related to IRA that businesses and residents might be able to seek and take advantage of. Again, these are tax credits, so it's not necessarily the same as the incentives that we just talked about previously. I would highly suggest consulting a tax professional before proceeding with any project, just to make sure that you are meeting some of these eligibility requirements. Some of the tax laws can get quite complicated, so a tax professional is a resource that might be ideal. Gina stated that Focus on Energy is approved to implement some of the residential IRA programs, which is great news. As far as the business side of the IRA funding goes, we don't currently have any details to share with everybody yet, but stay tuned. Details are always being finalized. So as we continue to develop the path forward, we'll be sharing information as soon as it's available. So, ideally, if you would like to sign up for our newsletters just to keep an eye out for information in the future, that's a great way to go. Also, the newsletter is a good opportunity to stay in tune with all kinds of different special offerings that Focus on Energy develops over time. So with that said, I don't have too much else to, I guess one other thing just to clarify as well is just that these tax credits can be used in conjunction with the Focus on Energy incentives. So, it's not something that you have to pick and choose one over the other. These can all be utilized simultaneously. So that's about all I have for my presentation. But again, I just want to say thanks. And, if anybody has questions about the Focus on Energy program, my information will be shared at the end and we can get in touch and I'll point you in the right direction. So thanks again.
Wow, Kyle, thanks again for that amazing job. So much wonderful information, all maybe a little bit overwhelming. So that's why we're going to definitely be sharing this webinar with all of its slides on CUB's website later on this week. But now we're going to go ahead and transition to the question and answer period of the conversation. Do we have any questions in our chat box? We have several links that have been added to the chat, so definitely take a look at those before we exit today. But I'm not seeing, take a really quick look. Okay, I have a question for the panel. So this is a really important, huge space that a lot of people are slowly but surely coming into. What are some of the most important things that folks forget when stepping into this space, trying to better understand how to navigate the energy usage and take role in the great things that are happening? And we will start with Gina. Yeah, that sounds good.
I think when it comes to the programs and the grants that are offered through the Public Service Commission, the biggest thing that I think people need to remember is to ask questions early. Like with the EIGP grant, we're hoping to go live tomorrow. Applications are not due till March 1st. Don't wait until February 28th to decide, oh, I want to apply and I have all these questions, because you're going to get cut off early. So ask questions early, apply early. And most importantly, when you are applying for a grant or certain funding, have a complete application. In our case, applications that could be missing any kind of information may result in bumping a really impressive energy project due to not being able to meet all the metrics that the evaluators look at. So have a complete application, start early, look into the resources to help you with those, and then of course contact staff if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Kyle, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I could kind of chime in on that too, and just sort of in the same vein, these things take time, and I think everybody just needs to accept that it's a long process sometimes. It can be lengthy, but there are resources here just to help. There's a lot of experts in this area, a lot of people that have done the same exact thing and been through the same path. So the sooner you reach out for questions and asking for things, the sooner we can help out. So, keep that in mind.
Awesome. And last but not least, Lisa, what do you have to offer to us?
So, what I'm thinking is, and I hear this all the time from folks, sustainability can be super overwhelming. And so I think what I've done over time, because I have a small business, is I pick one major task to do a year within sustainability, and I spend the year focusing on that topic. And so for me, 2021 to 2022 was really, I've always wanted to have renewable energy. We just didn't have the opportunity to do it until 2021. And so that was my opportunity. I just get so excited. It was like, yay, I can finally go with solar. I can finally put batteries in. So my business was like 12 or 13 years old at that point, right? So I'd wanted to do this all along, but I had to wait, which is okay. But then I took a year, went through the process exactly, set a budget, did my due diligence. So pick one thing and do one thing. Just start somewhere, because it's all connected, right? So whatever you're going to do is going to have a positive impact of the climate emergency, but you got to start. Worrying about starting is not useful. Take a step, take some action, do something.
Amazing. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you to all of our speakers that joined us today. Also, thank you to all of our promotional partners that made this day possible. Very excited to continue these conversations. This is only the start of a great conversation. We have to share this information and continue to share it. So again, thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our sponsors. I'm going to bring Tom back in now. He's going to handle a few housekeeping issues and a couple more resources that we want to share with you all before we let you go. And again, thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me, and again, for allowing me to be a part of this space. Tom?
Thanks so much, Montre, and thanks for a great job emceeing the program, and thanks for those wonderful presentations. Just wanted to quickly go over a couple great options for home-based businesses. If you're thinking about saving on your energy bills or smoothing out your bills, the first thing is to think of either a time of use rates or energy, or what's called a nights and weekend rates by some utilities, where if you shift some of your energy practices toward the evening hours or the early morning hours or the weekend, you can save, most customers actually can save money. And also another thing that's available from Focus on the residential space is this free energy packs. They actually have now one that's called Prepping for Sweater Weather. And we know we're in that right now after the last few days. So be sure every utility customer in Wisconsin can take advantage of these freebies every single year. So that's really important to remember. Not everybody realizes that. And then to smooth out your energy bills between the hot months and the colder months and the shoulder months, a budget billing program can just smooth things out for you. So that's something else to consider. And for businesses, for non-home-based businesses, several utilities have programs in place that also are similar to those time of use rates, or a kind of a time of day related rate offering. So next slide, please. And I'm going to start talking about some of the resources that Montre was mentioning. So last year we did a series of 3 small business webinars, and those are all available on the CUB YouTube channel. And then there are blogs on the CUB website that are linked here. So when you get the slides, you'll be able to link to that. So I just wanted you to Lisa had mentioned this earlier, but wanted to just highlight that those are still available and still relevant and good information for you. Next slide, please. And then also last year we did a series of 3 webinars for residential customers that talking about actions to use less energy, lots of really cool tips for gadgets and gizmos that can help you save energy. And also we did some discussions of where the cost pressures that continue to hit us in the time that we're living in, and kind of how Wisconsin's preparing for the clean energy transition. So check out our website for more information on that, and also check out our consumer resources, both in English and Spanish. Next slide, please. And then you can see, as Gina mentioned, we had a variety of promotional partners and partners that including Wisconsin Conservative Energy Forum, Green Homeowners United, Community Shares, Focus, Sustain, Dane, and Renew that were involved in this year's educational webinar series, including this the one we just did earlier this month for homeowners and renters. So there's a link to that one too, which was a lot of good information shared from our speakers there. Next slide, please. Yes, and then we have one more webinar left in our 2023 series. And so in 2 weeks from today, actually, we're going to be on December 13th. We're going to be doing, so mark that on your calendar, December 13th. We will be doing a webinar about CUB's active work on 5 simultaneous rate cases that our regulatory team was involved with. So if you're a customer of We Energies, WPS, Alliant Energy, Excel, or Madison Gas and Electric, we'll have good information to share for you about what happened with all the rate cases, what the trends are for energy costs going into 2024, and what CUB was working on to try to keep costs in check, our cost increases in check on your behalf. So, and I wanted to just appreciate everybody's participation today. I wanted to note the appreciation in the chat from an additional resource that Jenny shared regarding the USDA Rural Energy for America program. So we will be sharing that information as well to all the participants and everybody who registered for today's webinar. So I wanted to thank you everybody for attending today and spending the past hour with us. Have a great afternoon, and thanks again.